Welcome to Chapter 8. 1373 Campaign of John of Gaunt. In August 1373, John of Gaunt, accompanied by John de Montfort, Duke of Brittany, led a force of 9,000 men from Calais on a chevauchée. While initially successful as French forces were insufficiently concentrated to oppose them, the English met more resistance as they moved south. French forces began to concentrate around the English force, but under orders from Charles V, the French avoided a set battle. Instead, they fell on forces detached from the main body to raid or forage. The French shadowed the English, and in October, the English found themselves trapped against the River Allier by 4 French forces. With some difficulty, the English crossed at the bridge at Moulins but lost all their baggage and loot. The English carried on south across the Limousin plateau, but the weather was turning severe. Men and horses died in great numbers, and many soldiers, forced to march on foot, discarded their armor. At the beginning of December, the English army entered friendly territory in Gascony. By the end of December, they were in Bordeaux, starving, ill-equipped, and having lost over half of the 30,000 horses with which they had left Calais. Although the march across France had been a remarkable feat, it was a military failure. English turmoil. With his health deteriorating, the Black Prince returned to England in January 1371, where his father Edward III was elderly and also in poor health. The prince's illness was debilitating, and he died on 8 June 1376. Edward III died the following year on 21 June 1377, and was succeeded by the Black Prince's second son Richard II, who was still a child of 10. Edward of Angoulême, the Black Prince's first son, had died sometime earlier. The Treaty of Bretigny had left Edward III and England with enlarged holdings in France, but a small professional French army under the leadership of Du Guesclin pushed the English back. By the time Charles V died in 1380, the English held only Calais and a few other ports. It was usual to appoint a regent in the case of a child monarch, but no regent was appointed for Richard II, who nominally exercised the power of kingship from the date of his accession in 1377. 54. Between 1377 and 1380, actual power was in the hands of a series of councils. The political community preferred this to a regency led by the king's uncle, John of Gaunt, although Gaunt remained highly influential. Richard faced many challenges during his reign, including the Peasants' Revolt led by Wat Tyler in 1381 and an Anglo-Scottish War in 1384–1385. His attempts to raise taxes to pay for his Scottish adventure and for the protection of Calais against the French made him increasingly unpopular. 1380 Campaign of the Earl of Buckingham. In July 1380, the Earl of Buckingham commanded an expedition to France to aid England's ally, the Duke of Brittany. The French refused battle before the walls of Troyes on 25 August. Buckingham's forces continued their chevauchée and in November laid siege to Nantes. The support expected from the Duke of Brittany did not appear, and in the face of severe losses in men and horses, Buckingham was forced to abandon the siege in January 1381. In February, reconciled to the regime of the new French King Charles VI by the Treaty of Guérande, Brittany paid 50,000 francs to Buckingham for him to abandon the siege and the campaign. Chapter 9 will be continued.